The Shadow Crew Podcast.
I could never tell what country he was from in that movie. Bloodsport, where he like looks at the camp.
Little Irish dude walking around doesn't sound like that's going to go too well.
Volume 2, the best spaceships of all time.
He-Man's powers.
It does come with its own castle.
And he dies in the first episode.
Oh no, sir! He's in the entire film. Sit back, get your popcorn, and enjoy your note taking on that epic film.
Well,
Chris?
we start the night out with technical difficulties, don't we?
You're muted.
Yep, for a change.
Oh, hey everyone! Welcome to the live Shadow Crew podcast, where we don't know technology, and that's okay because you guys, 90% of you don't subscribe anyways, so you might as well just do that. Give thumbs up, because if you don't, you miss out on sweet technology mishaps. Chris, testing.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there he is.
We got you.
Hey. I already got the Dr. Brantley put the dump button on because he knew I was going to start the show by talking about like what the heck. But no, I'm excited. You know why I'm excited? Because last week, for those of you who didn't listen or have not watched the previous stream where we covered the best comic book films of all time, the tougher challenge awaits us in just a little bit, and that is the worst comic book films of all time. I will say it was much harder to condense it to 32 than it was the best, and that is a sad situation. What's even sadder is that a handful of them releasing in 2024 and 25 will probably make the list if we revise it at the end of this year. But I'm super excited for it. I know we're going to jump into some news, some hot topics. Coming off a Super Bowl weekend, a lot of big movie trailers dropped. But before we get into that, as always, thanks for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, follow. It helps the channel grow. Spread the word. We're here every Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific time, multi-streaming. I think the first thing that we want to jump into is the biggest trailer that was unveiled at Super Bowl. The Deadpool Wolverine Super Bowl trailer got massive amounts of views. And I think for the year-end review show, this group here said that this was going to be the best comic book film of 2024. It would deliver the hype. And it certainly looks like the trailer is living up to those expectations. What you all think of it?
Well, are you sure that's what we said? You know, because I'd like to see that redacted. I think I need to drop the replay flag on that one. Yeah, you know what? It just amazes me, like, you know, the amount of stuff that keeps getting seeped in. You know, it's like I don't know what they're thinking, and it just kind of like, you know, it kind of gets to you a little bit. You know,
You talking about Deadpool Wolverine?
No. I'm talking about everything.
Oh, no, I'm talking about Deadpool Wolverine.
Yeah. But I'm saying it's like I don't know why they were thinking that wasn't the premier kind of thing that they need to push to the forefront. You know, it's kind of like they've been promoting all this other stuff, jumping in, and I'm like, there was only one thing of the week that mattered towards anyone. I think it was probably, well, actually, I know Chet and I was talking about that. It was one of the largest drop trailers of all time.
Yep.
And you're like, but this was a 20th Century Fox property. And this is what it took for you to actually get something good into the MCU. You had to go out and get something else. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know what they're thinking, but it was exciting, man. You know, look, we didn't get to see Wolverine, but we got to see the presence of him. But, you know, everything about that trailer was just like, wow, they just really let it all out.
I just think that I'm trying to keep rated G, okay? So it's hard for me to think
You
straight.
go PG-13. It's okay.
Okay,
You get your mic cut like Dr. Brantley did to me in the beginning of the show. Just push the button.
I'll get my mic. Okay, look. This is if Marvel would just go back to Marvel Studios days and just license their shit out to have people make movies, I truly feel like their time ended with Endgame. And I think it's and if you look at like the Netflix series, whether it's Luke Cage, Daredevil, Iron Fist, Defenders, like whatever it is, like any one of those that wasn't the best, like you could say Defenders, right? Defenders was pretty blah, still was more watchable than any of the shit that Disney has put out over the last like 2 years. And when you look at what you just talked about in terms of like Deadpool, like get it through your skull. Like let people who are passionate about the projects actually make the projects. And we were just talking about this off camera, but they did the same thing with X-Men 97, and we don't know if anyone's going to watch that. The Deadpool trailer is epic. But where's the marketing money for? Why isn't this every 2 ads on YouTube? Or why isn't, you know what I mean? Like I don't get it. And I'm excited for it, but like it's like no one's listening to what anybody wants. And then when we finally get something, they don't want to try to recreate that anywhere. Like,
well, dare to say, do you think it's one? I think this has the potential of doing the $1 billion box office.
Absolutely.
I think this is the first time in a long time it has the potential to do. And I'm like, what are they thinking over there? What are they doing?
It absolutely does. And it's because like, and I'm like, I mean, Hugh Jackman coming back as Wolverine, and it's what people want. He never got a proper send off. Like, and this is like, I don't know. Every Deadpool movie was a lead up to I think what this movie is, and I think they need to allow people who are passionate, who have read the comics, who understand the comics, who are into the characters. I think they need to start letting them create that. You know, and I don't think they're gonna do it.
No, it was a good trailer, and hiding Wolverine because they're gonna save that to probably like a month before the movie comes out when you start seeing the TV spots, and they'll do like one more trailer, and then that'll be the big hype up, and everyone's gonna be juiced to see it, and it's going to be huge opening, but way over 100 million.
Oh, yeah.
Possibly 2. It could be like a Avengers Endgame kind of a situation, but it depends on if it's actually good or not, whether it'll make up, the rest.
Here's
of
the thing: I don't think it matters if it's good or not. I think by the time anybody figures out that it's really terrible, it's already made like damn its marketing budget and everything else. By the time people are like, "Wow, this is really bad,"
but it's going to make its money. It's
kill themselves.
A lot of people go and buy the comic book fans that go and see it opening day, and then they say, "Hey, was that any good?" Because I do like some of them, but the last stuff was terrible. So it's going to be repeat business and getting people that don't normally see those to get to $1 billion.
But ask yourself, which one of those, the first two, like the first one was fantastic. Second one was good. Maybe it was but it was still worth your money to get in. This third one, just having Hugh Jackman pop in, is that's a moneymaker. And I'm like, all it took was basically you take a property that you basically have pushed off for months, and you put all this other stuff on and all these other films, and you had this sitting the whole time. And again, that's why I started off like, what are they thinking over there?
I think this is going to benefit from how Top Gun benefited with like the COVID recovery and the first big box office film. Like that movie was great. I think we all agree. but I don't think it makes the money it does if it didn't happen at that time. Like if it
True.
was like stacked with other like good box office films, I think it does business, but not what the talk of the town. I think this is people are done with the comic book genre. It's been we've talked about it, the MCU, the DCU. It's come at the right timing. People are like, what's the savior? And this is it. So it's going to benefit. I think it's going to be good. It was going to make money anyway, but I think it's going to catapult because people are looking for a refresh take of a film that is not cookie cutter, that has no agenda other to be really unapologetic. And you could see in the trailer, in Deadpool-esque form, already hints of like, this ain't your mom and your mama's comic book movie.
You
right?
can tell.
That's what people want.
You can tell in the trailer that it's still rated R.
Yes.
And what I think is very under talked about is that Ryan Reynolds and everybody involved in Deadpool understand that Wolverine is bigger than Deadpool. And they know it, and it's because Wolverine is Wolverine, but they know it. And like Dr. Brantley said, like, I would be surprised if they didn't even show him until it came out. But I agree with Dr. Brantley that it will probably be one of the last trailers, and you'll see it, but you'll only get like some kind of like silhouette side view, like just like a quick glance at like the suit, whatever it is. But I really appreciate the fact that they honor the fact that like Wolverine is bigger than Deadpool. Yes. And this film is just going to make Wolverine and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine specifically that much bigger, and it's going to make Deadpool that much more in demand for some other cameo or another movie. And if you've read Deadpool, you could go on forever with Deadpool on how many times he's killed like Avengers, he's killed the X-Men, he's killed whatever. I'm excited about it, and look, even if it sucks, I'll go because by the time I know it sucks, I'm already in the theater. Exactly like you said, Mr. Storm, is like I'll be in the theater and be like, oh crap, this is gonna suck, but let's watch it anyways because it's Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds was made for Deadpool. We know he's obviously done some pretty bad movies in the past. But yeah, I think I really hope it's a turning point though for like maybe not the crazy superhero movies, but like the anti-hero movies, and like I don't know.
This is an R-rated movie, so Wolverine can be Wolverine
yes.
all the way.
Which is why
Logan was the only other one they were able to do R.
And I think,
thank you for pointing that out. Yes.
Well, think about this though. What did Hugh Jackman post on his Twitter or X account after the trailer? He said, "Wolverine and asshole, it fixed it for you." That should tell you, like Hugh Jackman going on his public account and putting on it. He's invested in this role too. Yeah. Like, look, if you're playing Wolverine, that's who you want to play Wolverine, right? Like that's why I think like he loved doing Logan, but I think this is more of like a comic book take on Wolverine's character. What I'm interested to see, however, is like how they're going to tie that in. Like you got a sneak peek into like how that's all going to come about, but I'm wondering from a plot wise how the two intersect, and so I think they left that open.
They've got they showed that. The time from Loki. So they could go to get a time when Wolverine was Wolverine in the past.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but I'm like that that for sure. But I'm like, I just hope it's not fumbled. Because we know the time thing has not been handled well in the Marvel universe.
Well, but if they do it on X-Men First Class, though, like if they do it was X-Men First Class, right? Where
it was the first time.
Yeah, where they went through and tried to clean up the timeline, and so if they continue down X-Men First Class timeline cleanup, I think that they could do it pretty well.
Yeah, and that's what's got my intrigue too. So I think overall, I think this could be the saving grace. I think it's really exciting. Another trailer that hit was Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. When I saw that, I turned to some folks that I was watching Super Bowl. I said, the CGI, the VFX is ridiculous. It was already insane. The past movies, it's so good. And if it's anything like the other films, I really enjoyed the other films too. Is what's his name still playing is it Caesar's, or it's a whole different?
Caesar's dead.
So it's a whole different.
Yeah, this is like hundreds of years in the future from the last one.
That's the thing that made it so great is what's his name? Who you know, the guy who plays Caesar that's done all
Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis. I mean, he was part of the reason why, like the acting performance. So that's the only question mark for me is like, will the acting performance be just as good? But the visual effects, woo! Yeah, and I love that universe. I love that whole Planet of the Apes. It's done really well. So I'm looking forward to that too.
I'll give you. I'll let you know this. I would have never thought that they would have had these movies out of that property, out of that IP. Planet of the Apes, so cheesy when I watched it, very whatever, and what they did to it and how they built it up, and then that trailer, it's just it's fantastic. It's finally a movie where they said, cool, our budget is like 500 million, let's spend 498 million dollars on effects, and then everyone else can just take whatever's left over. In my opinion, if you watch the trailer, like they spent a lot of money on visual effects because it was epic.
Yeah, well, there's hardly humans in it. It's mostly apes, so all of that is CG.
Yeah, and it's not cheesy either.
This is what happens when you don't fix it in the post. When you're like, oh, like, so when it's like you could start off with a plan in the beginning, and when you don't, you need the best special effects people because this needs to look clean. Because you can make it look really bad, and I think they did a great job of making the characters 100% lifeline. I was watching on a 4K ultra depth television, and it was like, wow, it was crystal clean for a trailer. Normally, that's when you kind of see a little bit of the haze and everything. The final product looks better, but wow, it was amazing.
Yeah, because I've liked those movies even since the originals. I think the first one I saw was Beneath the Planet of the Apes on TV when I was a kid. And I just loved just the makeup effects and everything. And then when I went back and actually started watching all the movies in order, I was like, oh, wait, that one was kind of bad that I liked. The first one is amazing. And I was hooked. And even Rise of the Planet of the Apes, when they did that, it was a great way to start the whole thing, and that whole series has been fantastic, the newer ones.
And let's not forget the last Planet of the Apes film was nominated for Oscars for visual effects and I think some other category. So you think about how technology has advanced. I think this is really going to showcase. I know everyone's about Avatar.
Yeah,
honestly, comparative to like what the Apes franchise has done, I think it was better than Avatar. I don't know why people get all like it's easy to design some stupid aliens you've never seen in your life before to look realistic. Try doing apes and making it look like holy crap, like
talking apes that look realistic. And you're like, I believe this.
It's nuts. Who did what Rise of the Apes? What was the VFX studio?
Weta did some of it.
Did they?
I think they might have done the ape stuff because that's why it was so good.
It's all. Yeah. And this new film,
I think it's Weta too.
I'm sure because let me tell you something. When you see
they
that
have to
kind
have
of
the
quality,
license on that. Yeah, they have to have licensing on that or something.
Yeah, when you see that kind of technology and everything work, look, that's either it's ILM or it's Weta. There's no in betweens when it comes to that. And Weta is almost, and I hate to say it's just going to be blasphemy here, but Weta is almost overtaking ILM and a lot of stuff, man.
I don't think that's blasphemy. I think it's true. I think ILM has gotten away with their name for so long that Weta came in and was like, "Oh yeah, all right, well we'll just take all these people that are passionate and put them in, and we'll just do a better job."
Yeah, Weta's doing this film as well.
Yeah, see, you can always show quality, man.
Yeah,
you know, they got their stamp on it. You know, they don't do, you know, like ILM now is the go-to for whenever you need to have some special effects done. And I think they're just their hands are reached out too much. But Weta is like far and few between. They on a project, they take their time, and it looks like pieces of art.
You know what it is? It kind of reminds me of this. ILM is like, we've done that before, let's reskin it. And Weta's like, we'll just create it.
Yeah.
Well, Weta also did Transformers: Rise of the Beast too. which was
That actually was really good too, man.
yeah, it
That was
was.
the first Transformers since I think the first one. I thought story matched, the characters matched, and the actual characters looked like they were all on the screen with the actors. So, again, Weta is just tearing it up, man.
Well, here's an interesting one for you.
Whatever.
Godzilla and Kong, the New Empire. Speaking of another really great trailer,
That's Godzilla Kong Fist Bump. Is that the name of the
yes,
movie?
That's
well,
that's
that'd be
name.
awesome.
Well, Godzilla X Kong, for some reason, it's the
Yes.
dumbest name. I hate that.
But the companies that worked on that film were Weta, ILM, Digital Domain, and about 7 other VFX houses. So this damn movie is going to be all like if you got all of them tag teaming on that.
Well,
That's
what they
amazing.
do is one particular company will do one aspect, like all Kong is ILM, all Godzilla is Weta.
That's awesome.
All the so it just depends on how they divvy it up. It's like, so all the green screen stuff might be Digital Domain, and so that's where it's good, but also you can run into problems.
Well, what I wouldn't want to do would be anything to do with this movie, because they have to come in after Godzilla -1. So like you're okay, cool. You have potential to either be really good or not. And I don't feel like there's going to be a middle ground because of how good Godzilla -1 was.
Well, yeah, Godzilla -1 is just a completely different theory. Look, the legendary films are decent, and I thought the Monarch, I guess the Legacy of Monsters, was really fantastic. Actually, I was shocked at how well they did all the tie-ins. But the one major aspect with the Kong films and the Godzilla films are that it comes right down to like the people mess up these films. Now in -1, the actors and everything else were equally as good as Godzilla. And I see, I think we'll see if Millie Brown's going to show up again. I saw the other characters from some of the other films and everything. It's usually the people aspect. They try to filter it in. Look, we just want to go see Kong and Godzilla and I guess a whole legion of crazy apes just get down. Hey, I could take that for like 2 hours. You just subtitle it. I'll be fine.
I don't care. Put in dumb human stuff, and that's the problem with all the legendary movies.
Exactly.
The humans I could care less about, because every one of those movies is dumb when you got people talking. When they actually have the monsters fighting, that looks fantastic, but that's not a story, and Godzilla -1 showed you how to do it. And I don't know why they don't get this guy to be working on these big movies, but
give him some time and he will.
Oh yeah. Look, I don't give a shit about the story. I'm gonna be honest with you all. I'm gonna be in the middle of the IMAX theater with a bucket of popcorn and just a smile on my face with Kong and Godzilla kicking some ass. If the story comes along and it's great, amazing. But at the end of the day, the two most epic monsters of all time fighting. And as Mr. Storm said, if there is a fist bump, the whole the reaction in the theater is going to be like
my money.
It's going to be like when Luke Skywalker came back in The Mandalorian. It'll be just like people on their feet screaming.
The only thing that would up it is if they give like Kong like a lightsaber or something. Then I'm sitting in front of the theater like it's 1989,
and when he opens
for the first show,
and when he opens his mouth, it's Samuel L. Jackson. It's like, yes, I knew it. It's either got to be Samuel L. Jackson or James Earl Jones as the voice. Hey everyone, we do want to thank you guys all for stopping by to watch over on all the platforms. If you have not done so, go ahead and take out your wallets and click on that free subscribe and follow. Don't want to break the bank, so we have for this cast and the next cast, we've removed the fee for following us, since it seems like everyone's afraid to do that. Also, you could thumbs up, which is fantastic. And if you're asked thumbs down, you better have a reason why you're thumbing us down, and not just do it just to do it. Okay. So and hey, Clint Beastwood, we weren't worried. We knew you were going to be here. So don't worry.
We knew it.
We knew it.
Clint. Thank you, Clint.
Well, It is now time, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, for our best of series, or should I say worst of series of the evening, and that is the worst comic book films of all time.
I do have a quick question about this, though. As Mr. Chris was announcing it, it made me wonder if we have any connections to Bruce Buffer so that we could use his voice for the intro to our series. So
we could just get AI to do it, and it costs us $10 versus probably $10,000 fee to have him do the voice.
I think it's probably 10,000 a minute.
On Cameo.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, we could. That'd be interesting. We could get somebody a Cameo.
We could get it actually. We could do that. Actually.
Yeah.
I'm
Maybe.
Sure,
who knows?
Hey, of the
Clint.
32 films we're going to narrow down to one, I'm sure there's a couple actors that played in these films that are on Cameo. That
Michael
would
Madsen in
for
any
about
of them?
$20. Yeah.
We get it. Michael Madsen's in it.
We could get Clint. How much money do you charge for a voiceover? we don't even know what you sound like. All right, cool. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail. Let's get into it.
Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who haven't seen the bracket elimination challenge, please check our previous videos on our channel. Again, we did the best comic book films of all time. We narrowed it down to one. It was a really great debate. So if you're curious to know what we nominated as the best number one, check that out. That was last week. It's a bracket of 32 of the worst films, and we will narrow it down to the worst film of all time. I will preface it by saying there are some really, really stinkers, some bad eggs out there.
Yeah.
But I think we left some of those off the list, some honorable mentions towards the end. But, things that had like a lower budget, straight to DVD, VHS, I would say as an example, the Nick Fury movie with Hasselhoff, or, the older Spider-Man or Captain America, some of the stuff, Max Steel, the Shaq movie, we're talking about box office films, like something that actually had a chance, that had either a decent budget or a crazy budget. And that's what made the list. But I'm sure that we left some off. So please comment in the channel. We'd love to hear.
And we need to define the tiebreaker. How do we break a tie?
Well, in this case and everything, I'm probably sure that what didn't make any money at the box office were probably the last one was what made money and what was the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes.
I think we do Rotten Tomatoes and box office like we did for the.
And then we could also always go to our viewers for that as
viewers.
well. So.
Okay. Well,
let's get into it.
Let's do it. Let me pop
this
open.
This is a question for Chris. Did you install ad block yet? I don't want to watch the old people exercising.
Ladies and gentlemen, the ad block is now real. Can you all see the screen? Can you all
Not
see
yet.
Yes,
now
the ad block has arrived. We upgraded our budget. And so really exciting.
Thank you guys for tuning in. That $1.25 YouTube got us. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
rolling the big dough right now.
Our first
ad-free bracket.
All right.
Although I did get a nice ad check from last episode, because we ran 900 ads and videos during the bracket elimination challenge.
Well, it did help us with that Amazon link thing. That really helped us, though.
Yeah, no, we definitely made some kind of something.
So here we go. Morbius versus the Green Hornet.
Oof.
What was worse?
Morbius. I could say, because I could watch Green Hornet, I could not get through Morbius. I turned it off. I don't know. It wasn't very long. It was maybe half an hour in. I
absolutely hate this one because, Seth was just fucking terrible in this movie, but Jared Leto was actually the one good thing about the entire thing of Morbius. So I gotta say that the Green Hornet was the worst, man. I would not watch that again, even if somebody paid me to do it.
See, they had some cool effects though in the Green Hornet. I will say, like that whole thing where it was like.
I'll tell you something. If you go back and watch the '66 version with Bruce Lee in it, you could put that on the screen, and it would have been 10 times better than the stuff that Rogan did for that.
Much rather watch Bruce Lee, but
it's on for you, chat.
Yeah, man, it's like I mean, I'm in a. I don't know. I'm lost here because like this is a really good one for the first one. See if I say Green Hornet, I really want to say Green Hornet, but then also look at the year it came out, and Morbius sucks, and that thing came out what, like 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
So I don't like Rogan though, so it's gonna be Green Hornet.
They're gonna make another Green Hornet movie in the future.
We hope so. With better
They are
actors.
not going to make another Morbius film, and that should tell you everything you need to know about these two films. So Morbius is so bad.
Yes.
That
yeah, Clint Eastwood said Green Wilder was bad, but Morbius was
terrible.
Right, well,
so I got to say Morbius. So is this a tie? Are we?
No, we could. No, it's not a tie. We could go to we go straight to if.
No, but
if
I'm saying though, did we say Mr. Storm? Did you say Morbius or did you say Green Hornet?
He said Green Hornet.
I say Green Hornet, man. I thought
so it's a tie.
Okay,
yeah,
so
but Beastwood
breaks the tie, brother.
Yeah, no, he doesn't.
Beastwood said Morbius,
and also Morbius made way less money than Green Hornet did.
Did it really?
I'm pretty sure.
I don't
think
know,
Morbius made like more than $10.
No,
the Green Hornet
they
also
put it
got
in theater twice, brother. It should have
and it didn't work either time.
They re-released it and it made $200.
Okay, so
the Green Hornet got 45% Rotten Tomatoes. I won't even check with Morbius, but it's not higher than 45. So Morbius moves on.
Okay.
The next is Dark Phoenix versus Venom.
This is gonna be
Dark Phoenix.
Dark Phoenix is one of the worst films I've ever seen.
And I hated Venom so much.
I walked out of Dark Phoenix
I remember there was a reviewer that said that like I think Jennifer Lawrence looked like uninterested acting in that movie, and I was like, "Yep, they hit nail on." Yeah, it's definitely Dark Phoenix.
I'll be honest with you, that's the first time her and I had something in common because I was very uninterested in the performance too. So this movie was so horrendously bad, and it was so bad because look at the cast.
Yeah.
And to turn around a dud like that
Venom was by the guy who wrote all the other ones.
Well, that's why it was bad, because we all know Simon has a record. He has a very bad record because Simon's the guy that messed up the X-Men in the first place. He cleaned up the X-Men and then wrecked it again.
Yeah. Venom at least has some, like, the CGI wasn't bad. Like I can't watch it again, but at least I sat through it. So that's how I gauge it. I walked out on Dark Phoenix. I sat through Venom. So it's got to be Dark Phoenix.
I think it's Dark Phoenix.
Mr. Maddox.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's Dark Phoenix, but I really like a really close friend of mine. Her and I would like read Dark Phoenix together. Like it was her thing. Like we reconnected. I took her to go see Dark Phoenix, and we both walked out, and we were like, "What happened?" Dark Phoenix was so bad.
It's bad,
especially after it had, like, I think it became right after I think we had Apocalypse, and we were like, okay, obviously this last one they can't make it that bad, and then they did, and it was like, well, all right.
Yeah, Dark Phoenix takes the cake. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen versus Stallone's Judge Dredd.
These are getting to be easy, brother. Let's be honest. Look, the greatest disappointment I have ever had sitting in the theater was when we had two League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I'm sitting in there, and there was some young individual who was about 18 or 19, and he literally turns around and he said, "Who the hell is Tom Sawyer?" And I was like, "My God, the school system in America is failing us." And two is, like I said, everything about that movie, from reading Alan Moore's books, it just crushed. You left out of the theater crushed. That was the one time where you were like crushed. Like,
wasn't this Sean Connery's last film, by the way? Didn't he retire after this?
Sean Connery, and it destroyed.
He's like, I'm done with Hollywood.
This one, Stephen Norrington, the director of Blade. This movie destroyed him because it was terrible, brother. Terrible.
Yeah, Judge Dredd was bad. but
Yeah.
this one was.
You can't tell Judge Dredd from Demolition Man, basically, other than
Rob Snyder.
He got Wesley
Yeah.
Snipes. Those are about the only two things. But
the problem I had with Judge Dredd, the Stallone version too, which makes sense, but it was like in the first 2 minutes of the movie, the helmet comes off. I was like, come on.
But the one thing I will give Judge Dredd credit on is that while that movie was bad for Stallone, it wasn't so bad. He said, "Well, we can't fix this." League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, even Alan Moore was like, "I don't want to do these books anymore. I'm done."
Yeah,
it just crushed him. So
now let me just real quick. I will say my company worked on the trailer or the teaser for Judge Dredd, and one of the things that they did was they got a special shoot of him going, "I am the law," and they had to do it so many times that it was ridiculous. Like the person directing was like, "Can you do it one more time? Just I am the law. I am the law." And the best take is what you got.
Oh my goodness.
But League, that was a horrible theater going experience after reading the first two series. And it's like, oh, we just decided not to do any of that.
Yeah.
Also, let it be known that Dr. Brentley's former company that he worked for, if you've ever seen the crappiest trailers in all of Hollywood that got you to go to the theater to go see it, it's due to that company. We won't mention that company ever by name, but like every one of them, it's got one of the worst. They've got one of the worst clickbait like trailers that ever got me in the theater, and I was like, "Wow!" They showed the movie in all of it, but that's some context of Dr. Brentley's former company.
Okay, next
he did have a cooler car, brother. I will give you that.
Yeah,
Spawn versus Elektra.
Now, while I'm not the greatest first Spawn fan, because I thought it was like the opening to the original Spawn was like another.
Are these a freaking joke?
Here we go.
I thought it was like the opening to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then I saw Michael J. White, and I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, this is Spawn." I was like, "Oh God," but Elektra was literally the film that I sat there and I thought, "How did this?" After you had Daredevil with Ben Affleck, how did this get made? It was just a shocker. So, it's Elektra for me, man.
Daredevil was bad. Elektra was worse. And Spawn was not good. Also, when you have your big ending battle in a living room, something's not right.
You mean what? It didn't do it?
Yeah.
Who did the CGI? Wait, who did the CGI?
I don't think it was technically.
I think
I think it was
some dude.
No, it was
not a big company.
No, I saw it. It was on the bottom of the screen. It said HB Hanna-Barbera.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah.
And he wants another movie. Just to know. He's I want to be in control of this one. Oh,
yeah, but Spawn's not going to show up until the end.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's Elektra by far. The Spawn was bad, but this Elektra just it's nothing memorable.
Even with like Terrence Stamp in it, I mean, they had great actors, but again, screwed it all up.
Like Spawn though, when we come later on, that movie leaving the theater, it did tear my soul out of it too. I thought the Mellow Bulger had that too. Yeah,
Chad, do you agree, Elektra?
Oh yeah, that's why I laughed when this came up. I was like, "Is this a joke?"
Okay. Jonah Hex versus The Punisher, the Thomas Jane version made in 2004.
Yeah, because it can't be the Dolph Lundgren one, because the Dolph Lundgren one's just like damn near Oscar worthy compared to the one that Thomas Jane did. And also a little context, because Mr. Chris and Dr. Brentley remember this. Well, actually, we were at San Diego Comic-Con and we were at Joe Crabshack. And we were ripping this movie like it was no tomorrow. And why did Thomas Jane hear us? Because he was sitting right there. I was like, oh my God, this Thomas Jane. And then there's another story about him walking the halls later on when he was drunk. And I understood why he was so pissed off, because we had totally annihilated this movie in front of him.
And
I was like, oh my
he made a bad film.
I didn't think about that. It might have been why he turned around as he recognized us.
No, that's why he was mad, man, because we were totally trashing. And I happened to turn around. I said, oh my God, the guy sitting right next to us is Thomas Jane. God help us. So
it was a terrible movie, but Jonah Hex was much worse.
and it has Josh Brolin. This man was Thanos.
Dude,
Thanos.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm going with Jonah Hex because I forgot it existed.
Yeah, so did everyone that watched it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What year did that come out?
Oh,
Oh,
2000s something
yeah.
early.
it was.
Probably.
I know it was after Ghost Rider, which should be on this list soon. I can tell you that.
Next, another Punisher Warzone versus Batman and Robin.
Oh,
That Punisher was better than Thomas Jane's.
Yeah.
Still kind of
Ray
unwatchable.
Stevenson.
But Batman and Robin, like I didn't think you could do better than Batman Forever, and I was wrong.
Was Batman and Robin? Is that the one with the bat suit had nipples?
That's right.
Yeah.
No.
And also, I remember we were sitting in the theater, and I know
that's the
Dr.
thing you remember
Brittany-
most from it.
I remember.
Oh, that's the Batman nipple movie.
Well, who puts nipples on a freaking bat suit? Nobody.
I remember
That's so pointless.
sitting in theater with Batman and Robin, and then he had Alicia Silverstone, who got the worst roasting of anyone that's ever walked in film. And she walked on screen, and there's some guy in the theater that squealed like a pig. And we were like, oh my God. I was like, that just summed up the entire movie right there. Bro.
I remember this one being bigger than it should have been, just because like at the time Chris O'Donnell was like a heartthrob or whatever the hell it was back then. And like, but then you go and it's like, I was so heavily into Batman comics that when they said Arnold Schwarzenegger was Mr. Freeze, I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like,
yeah, everybody said it should have been Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, it should have been a skinny dude with a monocle, not a whatever.
In fact, Batman and Robin was so bad it killed Alfred the actor. That was it. He died shortly after.
And Chris O'Donnell never did another movie afterwards.
Well, look at the poster too. It's a Batman movie, and who's on top?
Yeah,
and whose name's on top?
Yeah, the guy who got the most money.
Yeah,
but it's like this is a Batman movie, but you couldn't tell. Like Arnold, negotiated.
It was so bad they couldn't even put Bane in the actual on the cover. They couldn't even put him on. It was like this movie just.
So Batman and Robin, clearly.
Oh
right?
yeah,
like the only one where Batman got top billing is Batman Returns, because Nicholson was the top, Jim Carrey was the top of Forever. So, but yeah, Batman and Robin is the absolute worst.
Yeah.
Green Lantern versus X-Men Origins.
They're both equally bad, but I gotta say that Ryan Reynolds just like for forever. I could never get that. Like I was a big lover of the Green Lantern Corps, and he just destroyed I sold all the comics. I no longer wanted the figures. I took them off the shelf. I said, this man destroyed my whole Green Lantern Corps. I can't even do the Green Lantern mantra anymore without seeing him. So no, it's definitely Green Lantern for me.
I would say Green Lantern, but then I don't think they've ever ruined an X-Men character like Gambit in this film. It was disastrous. This was
Wolverine in this movie.
It was so bad. Like anybody know what happened to this actor? This is a tough one for me because they were.
Oh, you're talking about Tyler Hitchman? Yeah, he went on to do John Carter and to really destroy this career.
There you go.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, it's X-Men Origins for me because, again, fun fact, we worked on the trailer for that one.
Of course.
What's your fault?
When you have
it's your fault.
Yeah, when you have animated claws, like not just CG animated, but cartoon claws. I mean, every bit about it was stupid and poorly done. And coming off of the X-Men movies, and it's like, oh, finally, Wolverine's going to have his own thing to shine. Nope. And then they introduce a whole new cast of other mutants that take away from his story as well.
Wasn't there also talks about like they were gonna try to continue or like X-Men Origins and like do it for like they did, right?
Yeah.
And then they just no, we probably
this
shouldn't.
one killed it because they had, I think they were gonna do Magneto and they were gonna do a couple others after that if it worked. But it did not.
Nope. They're probably excited because they're like, we're finally gonna get to introduce Deadpool, and then everyone's like, what's up with the dude in the back with no mouth?
Well, look, Ryan Reynolds killed off where we never got to see the John Stewart Solar movie. So both of these things wrecked the franchise. I can tell you that.
as much as the Gambit set, like Green Lantern was I
Yeah.
mean we never saw
He didn't even
another.
have a real costume on. He had a CGI costume.
It was really bad. It was really bad.
And it didn't need to be. Like, you just put him in a green suit. It's not that difficult. It didn't have
Yeah.
to have little, lights things going all over it. That was dumb.
So are we saying
Jet-
Green Lantern?
Green Lantern.
I still say Wolverine, but I think Green Lantern
Green Lantern.
wins.
Yeah, I got to go with Green Lantern.
And Blackest Night is Green Lantern.
Now, in spirit of
Oh,
finding
oh.
a DVD bin for $1.99 at your local CVS, The Crow Salvation versus Blade Trinity. Funny enough, both films following really good first attempts in the original Crow and Blade that made our top 32 of best comic book films. But both of these really, really bad.
It was so
What do you
bad that
think?
Wesley Snipes didn't even show up to the premiere of that third movie. That's how bad it was.
Well, why would you? He was hardly in the movie.
Yeah, well, that's why he wasn't in the movie. But The Crow was like, basically The Crow shouldn't even be on this list. This one should be an honorable mention. It's so bad.
The first sequel was City of Angels, because I know that because I actually watched it, and that one had Kirsten Dunst in it, and it was one of the worst things I had seen up until that time. I never bothered with this one, but if it's as bad or worse than that, I'm gonna go with The Crow.
Well, she's on this one too, so she carried on her.
Or maybe they changed the name, trying to trick people into it's like, oh no, this isn't City of Angels, this is Crow Salvation.
I can tell you the Crow Salvation was so bad that crap Crow TV show that was like in syndication was better than that.
Yes.
So are we saying The Crow?
I'm saying The Crow.
Yeah. Although I did see Blade Trinity in a theater.
I did too.
So disappointed.
I mean, that's your problem.
I know. Well, hey, I had 2 ones going into it that was like, hey, that's fantastic. And then, oh, what the hell am I watching?
Okay. Now down to
This sucks.
Morbius. Wow. And remember, folks, this is one side of the bracket. We will get to the finalist of this bracket and we'll move on to the other. Don't forget, subscribe, like the channel. We need the follows, spread the word. But Morbius versus Dark Phoenix.
Ooh, I still think Dark Phoenix still rises above this, just because it's such an utter disappointment.
Yes,
you know, I had nothing going into Morbius. I guess I kind of had a feeling that Morbius was going to suck, but Dark Phoenix was one was like, oh my goodness. I got to still say Michael Fassbender. There's too many good actors in that movie for it to be that crappy. So still Dark Phoenix for me.
Dark Phoenix.
Same. Chet.
Dark Phoenix.
Okay.
I mean,
I don't want to let Morbius skate, but you know.
Yeah.
But I mean,
one of the hardest ones here.
This one, not even close.
I don't know which one's worse, to be honest with you.
The acting was better in Elektra.
Was it?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I mean, that's like saying you're the. I mean, that's not really saying a lot.
Again, I didn't have any expectations for Elektra, but League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, I did. It was the worst letdown in the theater.
There were too many top name actors in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen for it to be that shitty, and it was still that shitty.
Exactly. League of Extraordinary gets it, man.
Yeah.
The League of the basically the underwhelming
League of the not able.
The League
to
of the
movies.
Underperforming box office. Okay.
I still say Elektra, but
League wins.
Jonah Hex versus Batman and Robin.
Oh my god, I don't know on this one.
Yeah, God, this is a little tough.
Can we just go to like the numbers for this one?
Well,
Batman opened to a huge amount. Jonah Hex never made it out of that first weekend.
Let me tell you something. Jonah Hex gets it because everything about that movie it came off of the Batman the animated series where they had Jonah Hex on there, and I saw this and I was like, "What did they? It's like, how did you mess this up?"
And wasn't John Malkovich the bad guy? Like,
I think so.
Even he was bad in it.
Yeah.
It was like,
Jonah Hex gets it. It's
Well, we took into box office consideration, but let's
Well,
see
Jonah Hex
what.
probably got I'm surprised if it made over $100 million.
No,
I'll be
I think
surprised.
it might have made only 20, if that.
Well, Jonah Hex gets 12% Rotten Tomatoes, and Batman and Robin gets 11% Rotten
Boy.
Tomatoes.
Oh my god!
Boy, that's
So it is lower.
Mm.
I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check box office for Jonah Hex. I made $11 million.
Told you.
So I think
Batman
Jonah
and Robin, I
Hex-
think, opened to $100 million weekend or
Yeah.
close to it,
What
and then
year-
it just died.
What year was Jonah Hex? Do we go over that?
Jonah Hex was. Hold on one second.
Was that like the year that like just no one was having kids? No one.
2010.
Yeah, so no one knew what theaters were, or was it just it's just that bad of a movie?
It's that bad of a movie, man.
Batman and Robin box office made 238 million.
Mm.
And it made it was considered a box office disappointment, but obviously,
Well, it was.
compared to 11 million,
Yeah,
I gotta say Jonah Hex.
Jonah wins.
Yeah.
Or loses, technically, how you
Yeah.
look at it.
Green Lantern versus The Crow.
Now,
Crow.
while I don't like the Ryan Reynolds film, The Crow was a piece of crap.
The Crow Salvation, Rotten Tomatoes.
What's the matter with toe thumbs?
Salvation, 18% Rotten
God.
Tomatoes. And Green Lantern, 25%.
Yeah,
So,
that's what it said. Yeah,
The Crow.
The Crow. There was no salvation in that.
Okay, Dark Phoenix versus the League.
Dark.
No.
Dark
Yeah,
Phoenix for
Dark
me.
Phoenix, yeah.
Jonah Hex versus the Crow. I think Jonah Hex takes this one
Yeah,
because you got to compare the budget associated with it.
Well, that's true. The Crow, they probably spent like $18 on.
I don't know if it was that much.
Jonah Hex budget was 47 million and it made 11 million.
Somebody lost their job.
Oh, I know that. I know that. Somebody on Monday morning had the security in the box in his hand.
So stupid.
Okay. So the loser of the first bracket, will it be Dark Phoenix or Jonah Hex? Just to put things in perspective, Dark Phoenix had a budget of $200 million
God.
and it grossed worldwide $250.
Well,
Technically came out on top.
yeah, well, that's not also that marketing campaign that they ran through it.
But also, yeah, just spending that much money and coming out with complete crap.
Again, it's like I still think it's Dark Phoenix, man.
Yeah, 250,
Yeah.
200. You spent that much money, quality actors, an X-Men franchise, and you turned around this piece of garbage.
Yeah.
Dark Phoenix is the winner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're moving on to the other side of the bracket, ladies and gentlemen. Who will compete against Dark Phoenix? And here we are, Eternals versus Supergirl.
Look,
Dude.
while I didn't like Supergirls, but Eternals was like the thing that almost made me give up my Disney Plus membership. It's got to be Eternals, man. That movie, first of all, was the least known property of all the Marvel films. And they decided, hey, let's put this out to the point. It was like, I think only Neil Gaiman did a limited series. And I was like, who are these characters? But it's the Eternals was just such an absolute disappointment from a writer-director that made a movie about a woman crapping in a bucket in her van and won an Oscar for it. And she got ran out of Hollywood with Eternals. That's how bad that was.
So here's the stats on Eternals. It's one of the biggest failures of the 30 films in the MCU. It was the first ever to be rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. It has the fourth lowest worldwide gross with takings of 400 million according to the industry analysts, and it was over budget, spending over $300 million on the budget to produce.
Well, you forgot that part in the review that said it wasn't even rotten, it was compost.
Yeah. As much as Supergirl was bad, Eternals was a disaster.
Yeah,
Jet-
Supergirl is awful, but Eternals was the worst.
What do you think, Jet?
Yeah, I mean it's Eternals. I mean it's and I like the Eternals. Like I read a few of the comics.
Yeah.
I don't know what this was, but they have the name on there, so I guess it's supposed to be from that. But there was like I don't think I saw anything that was true to character in this film, and it was just a bunch of shit on TV.
Mhm.
It's not good.
And these were the most
Supergirl's bad, but this is bad. Like,
these were the most discounted figures that I saw too.
Oh,
The Marvel.
okay.
And they're still on the
absolutely.
shelves if you want them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still on the shelves.
It's buy one get 30 free.
Yeah, please take a box. We got some in the back too.
Yeah. Ooh.
Daredevil versus X-Men: The Last Stand.
Wow.
It's Daredevil for me.
Yeah, it's Daredevil. And there's actually I remember we were in the Mad Chinese Theater on opening night, and we had the director, Brett Ratner, sitting 2 seats in front of us, and his friend, Courtney Love. And she was so completely drunk that even she got up 10 minutes in the movie and walked out of it in front of everyone. And we were in the first like 3 or 4 rows at Man Chinese Theater in the opening night. And we were like, that's how bad this movie is. And we still had to sit there because we couldn't get out because there were so many people in security. But she got up, jumped over a row and walked over people and walked out of that movie. That's how
Yeah,
bad it
when you're
was.
the director's date and you leave, that's not good. But neither was Daredevil.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think
was
Daredevil
terrible.
was worse. I don't
Daredevil
know.
was
I
worse.
really hated
I still
X-Men.
think yeah, but Daredevil's worse.
Daredevil
at
was really bad.
At least X-Men had a lot of shit happening on the screen, so you were kind of distracted, but like Daredevil was just like, come on, speed the shit
Daredevil
up.
was so bad it took them how many years to actually make the TV series?
Don't forget
I know.
Elektra. Wasn't Elektra in Daredevil too?
It was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
it was just 2 horrible things in one film.
It burst out a worse movie. So
Yeah, Daredevil
gotta-
was so bad that the audience wished they were blind. That's
Yeah,
how
it
bad
was Daredevil was so bad that they realized they had to write Elektra in because it would have been
Oh yeah.
And
these might be the
also,
2 worst posters, by the way, too, to be
True,
honest with you.
true.
Daredevil, just like Madam Web, was a Valentine's Day release.
Oh,
so
my
you
God.
could take your girlfriend, but they probably broke up with you after making her watch that.
They probably didn't even get in the
But-
car.
Brother, that wasn't Daredevil that did that. That was good. You can't put that on.
Daredevil advances the Justice League, not the Snyder cut.
No,
and
it's-
we just added Madam Web to this list. Congratulations, Madam Web, winner of the predict worst film prediction of the box office graveyards, and on track to be one of the worst films in comic book history.
You know what? And the worst part about this is, unfortunately, I'm going to have to say Justice League because Madam Web, from the reviews and everything, I have not seen that movie yet. Although people have said it's terrible, that's one of those things like The Matrix. You just have to see it for yourself. So I can't have bias on it because I haven't seen it. So I got to say, but Justice League, I wish I never saw that.
Yeah, I mean, the whole troubled production of it, and you bring in the guy that did Avengers to fix it, and makes it objectively much worse than if you would just let Zack Snyder finish it, or wait until his personal things were done for a bit and then let him finish it.
Well,
But,
when the movie is so bad that you can make a 4-hour movie cut of it, and no one in America minded sitting in for 4 hours, it thought, wow, this was significantly better. Like, that's telling you how crappy Justice
Yes,
League was.
Madam Web did come out.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it is. You can see it in the theaters now, or I would suggest you not
But
do
hurry.
that. I
Yeah.
would suggest you don't do that. I think you should find some other ways to watch the movie that you don't have to pay for.
It'll be streaming at Ross or TJ Maxx. So let's give it a week.
It's actually the first Marvel release for Dollar General.
I'm gonna say Justice League on this one. I
Yeah.
think I haven't seen it, but I think if we just compared budgets and hype and all the superheroes you had in it, you couldn't get it right. That takes the cake for me. the infamous Howard the Duck, and R.I.P.D.
I've seen both of these.
Well, hold on. What happened to the Howard the Duck that was Seth Green cameo?
You talking about the one that was in Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
Yeah. Were they supposed to do something with that?
I don't think. Yeah, it
we'll
was just
see.
kind
I
of
don't know.
Yeah.
No one cared enough.
Well, again, or they just had a revisionist thought and said, "We've already done this crap before. let's do it again." Howard the Duck was, especially when you put George Lucas's name on it, you're like, wow, Howard the Duck, and actually is behind Dr. Brentley right now. There's two things we have a joke. We have we know an artist that drew Howard the Duck, and actually I thought that the Howard the Duck on the screen was worse than what I saw someone else do. So Howard the Duck is terrible, man. It's one of the worst films I think could ever be produced in the comic book genre, and it could almost kill the comic book genre before it even started. That's how bad it was.
And this was, I think, Lucasfilm's first movie after Temple of Doom, right? So you're going from that to Howard the Duck. Oof. The R.I.P.D. was terrible, and again, Ryan Reynolds, he's going to show up a couple times.
But you know what? Jeff Bridges kind of made that at least a little bit watchable. I will tell you that. But Howard the Duck is like God.
Yeah. My thing is for Howard the Duck.
Yeah, wow.
Howard.
I love that when you read the story of Howard the Duck, there was like 5 actors that were playing Howard the Duck throughout the film. That's to me, it's like a recipe for disaster.
It's just that Howard the Duck is the old school Tommy Wiseau, like The Room. Spell his name different every time.
Oh God.
The Spirit and Superman: The Quest for Peace.
Look, first of all, this is the reason. Spirit's one of the reasons why they don't give comic book artists anymore directorials. Anything else like that? That it's the Spirit didn't have story, didn't have direction, didn't have anything that was any piece of overwhelming. Look, The Quest for Peace was not good, but I could watch it again. But I could never watch The Spirit again.
Well, Quest for Peace also has a way cooler poster.
It does. It does. That gives me 2 points on that too. But it's The Spirit, man. Wow.
Yeah, The Spirit was god awful. Again, you've got Samuel Jackson as the bad guy, and he was. This might be one of the worst things that he ever did. His portrayal, and it was just dumb all around. And they were trying to go for that Sin City kind of look. And it didn't work this time.
Thank God that Will Eisner was dead because he couldn't see his grave. Thank God.
Yeah. This was really bad. I agree. The Spirit moves forward. Hellboy. This is the 2019 Hellboy, I think, not the one that was actually
this
pretty decent.
David Harbour's version.
David Harbour and The Marvels, the sequel to Captain Marvel.
Marvels.
Yeah, well, I didn't like the Hellboy. I could watch that again, but the Marvels I can't ever see again.
Yeah, I mean Hellboy at least looked good. The Marvels was just a mess.
Trash.
Okay. The Marvels.
I guess what we'll have to do is just like a little follow-up one after this week, which is Marvels versus Madame Web.
Oh, this is easy right here. Although I didn't think one was that good. At least Morgan Freeman was halfway decent. But Catwoman was from the second the opening credits pulled on.
Horrid.
It was one of the worst films ever done.
It was
through
horrible.
History.
It was horrible, especially when you're coming off like hoping to see Michelle Pfeiffer on there as Catwoman. And just like her Catwoman story in that Batman movie was better than this entire movie.
Yes.
Yep.
And Wanted was trash, but I mean, look, they were flicking bullets around corners and reading string and a bunch of other weird ass crap.
Well,
so
there's no reason to call it Wanted because aside from like the first 2 scenes or something, none of it was anything like the book.
But I will say this is bar par with most of Mark Millar's films. Either they're completely crap or like the 1 or 2 of them surprises you. So
And it's not Mark Miller's fault, by the way.
no, it's not. No, at least
Like,
not
it's-
this. But the Netflix stuff, it could all be on him.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I'm fine blaming that.
Yeah, was it the Loom
Yeah,
of
Catwoman
Destiny?
garbage.
Ugh, but Catwoman was
Catwoman.
way worse.
Wow.
Ryan Ryan Reynolds gets a mention because he was in 3 of these films that are in the bottom 32. But let's not forget Angelina Jolie, who is in Wanted, but also Eternals. So she's
Eternals
right
as
up
well.
there. Congratulations. But Catwoman advances. You could have put Ghost Rider or Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. This is the worst of the two, and then Batman Forever. So
I think it's only worse than 2 because they had Idris Alba in this movie, and it's like you couldn't get a good like this was the spirit. And I think we saw Dr. Brandon, I'm correct. We saw both Ghost Rider and this one and I think the only reason we went to go see this one because we saw Idris Alba is going to be in it. And I remember sitting in another theater, disappointed as hell, while Batman Forever was crap. Val Kilmer at least tried, but like it's got to be the Spirit of Vengeance, man.
Well, Spirit of Vengeance, if I'm not mistaken, like the reason was the first Ghost Rider was PG-13, and this one was rated R, and we're like, oh, okay, well, they're going to be able to do some stuff. And what they did was they turned a like wrecking ball into the Spirit of Vengeance and turned it on fire at the end. It was just like, what the hell is this? Ghost Rider. As much as I hate Batman Forever.
Look, even though there's nipples involved, Ghost Rider takes it.
No, we never wanted to see a bike turn on fire ever again after that.
This, for me, this is Eternals. Like I'll watch. I'll watch Daredevil over Eternals. Eternals is and that guy looks like Biggie Langston, by the way, in Eternals.
Howard the Duck still kind of. I gotta be honest with you.
Oh, this is Howard the Duck.
Yeah, Howard the Duck.
Dr. Brantley.
I'm not sold, but
Well,
I think Howard the Duck probably.
Oof.
Oh God.
Okay,
I would say
flip a coin.
Hold on. Tomorrow night, no alcohol, no other enhancements to your day to get you through the film. You were forced to watch one. What are you watching?
No alcohol? None?
Be honest. No alcohol, no other things to
gouge
make
my eyes out first? I mean...
Nope, you have to sit through it.
I don't think I can sit through the Spirit again.
This one, even if someone had a gun to my head, I think my brains would be over the screen because I don't know if I could sit through either one again. My God.
That's how we have to go. We have to go through. This is how we're going to do it. Forget Rotten Tomatoes, forget box office. I'm forcing you to make a decision. You're forced.
Only because it had one of the, like, again, we saw Frank Miller after you saw Sin City, and like the expectation for the Spirit was like, we knew the Marvels was going to suck the minute they announced they were doing it. But the Spirit, we thought, like there's a glimmer of hope that this might be good.
And also 2 Sam Jacksons.
Yeah.
That's
I think
that's such a that's
look, and I'll be honest with you, the Cat was the far better actor out of the Marvels. So he's got me on that. So it's got to be the Spirit.
For me it's the Spirit. But I mean, how crappy is it when you are referring to a movie and the sentence that makes sense is, we all knew it was going to be crap when it came out.
Yeah,
that's like
we knew it.
Okay,
that's a bummer. That's such a bummer.
Catwoman
for me. Catwoman for me. It's horrible.
Eternals. I think that's worse than Howard.
Yeah,
because I was still on the fence of Howard on that last one.
Well, I would say only because Howard was like meant to be kind of goofy, so you're almost like, although it was bad, at least it like the stupid attempt at comedy offsets like taking it seriously. But Eternals tried to be so serious, and it was just a disaster.
And knock my memory here, but it really seemed like was Howard the Duck out before Alf was.
I think so.
Like the TV show?
85
yeah, the
or
TV
86.
show, right?
It was out before.
Okay, because it seemed like they took the Howard the Duck premise with Alf and it worked. But somehow, maybe they learned from like, okay, we're gonna have a do fish out.
Did Howard the Duck eat cats?
No.
That's
Howard
why
the Duck
Alf
was
worked
out
there.
Howard the Duck was 4 years before Alf.
Okay.
Well, that's why Alf worked, is because they
they
added
cleaned
the
up
cat
their
thing.
mess.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they cleaned it up and they added cat.
But yeah,
I think
no,
it's Eternals.
It's Eternals. No, it's
Yeah,
Eternals.
Eternals. I would watch Howard the Duck over Eternals any day.
Yeah.
And that's a lot.
The Spirit and
Man,
Catwoman.
I don't
Still
know. I don't know.
Catwoman. It's still
It's
Catwoman on
It's
this one.
Catwoman for me on this one.
Oh, I
Like,
think
look
it's
at the
Spirit.
fucking look at the poster of Catwoman. Like, what is that? She climbing up models?
Come on.
Yeah.
It's Catwoman for me.
I can't, like, literally, I would never watch The Spirit again.
You wouldn't watch Catwoman again?
I would
either.
not watch Catwoman either, but I
Exactly.
might even consider it. I would never consider watching The Spirit.
Okay, let's
do box office.
Okay, so first Rotten Tomatoes, The Spirit
Oh, Spirit
gets
I'm guessing.
14% Rotten Tomatoes for
I'm
The
surprised he even got
Spirit.
a score.
And Catwoman gets 8% Rotten Tomatoes. That
Ooh.
I've never seen a single digit score.
I have never seen a single digit score in Rotten
Well,
Tomatoes.
you've seen it now, my friend. You've seen it now.
Catwoman in the box office made $82 million.
Spirit did not make that, I tell you. I'm guessing 20 if.
The Spirit made $39 million.
Oh, well, higher than I thought, but
But I mean, Catwoman at 8% Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, that's Catwoman.
It's Catwoman.
Okay, and we are down to the final two to compete against Dark Phoenix. Ladies and gentlemen, again, please
I think,
subscribe, like, follow
Yes.
channels. We are multi-streaming every Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. I hope you're enjoying the show. If we've forgotten some, please comment. Let us know in the chat.
Yeah. Also, if you want to see a bracket.
Uh,
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I would watch Eternals over Catwoman.
I can't say that because I don't ever want to watch Eternals ever again.
I don't want to watch any of these ever again. Okay, but we have to
Yeah.
come up with an educated decision here.
Catwoman is so like
Catwoman.
the only
is
thing that
complete
Eternals has
garbage.
is like some of the VFX is all right, but like the Catwoman is just it's nothing. It's so bad.
There was no substance to Catwoman. They didn't get the story right. It was horrid acting.
True.
Like, I mean, it was like, I mean, even the poster they can't get right. How big is she's like Godzilla on this poster compared to this freaking like building?
I will give him credit on that one. Yes, it's a Catwoman for me.
And the Eternals poster is okay. Well, we got 10 people that are the stars. Well, let's just put them standing. Oh, how about standing on top of each other? They'll fit that better.
Yeah. Just cut the legs off the top people. That's fine. Yeah, it's Catwoman for me.
Catwoman.
I see. I'm gonna say Eternals, but obviously Catwoman wins.
And now the feud. It's like Kong and Godzilla, Dark Phoenix versus Catwoman. And I know that Catwoman had the 8%, and I know it's considered one of the worst films. But I think Dark Phoenix, in my opinion, because of the budget, the stars, the expectations.
Yeah, Dark Phoenix for me on this one. Everything you're saying is exactly why that's.
Look at the
that's it for
poster.
me.
Like if you saw that poster, you would be like, "Man, this is gonna be a good film."
That's got to be a good film, and then it never happens.
I give you credit on that one. It was one of the greatest disappointments with that cast, that crew, that amount of money. Yeah, like Simon Kingsburg. Yeah, it was an absolute disappointment.
And you notice, I think they kind of knew it was the worst because they didn't even bother putting X-Men in the title. It's just, well, let's just make a little circle around
they
the
did
X.
they did a little circle around the X, and so everyone thought it was X-Files.
Exactly.
So, are we unanimous?
Dark Phoenix.
Dark Phoenix.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the worst comic book film
sir.
of all time is Dark Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Congratulations.
Man, that's
Wow.
Now it should
Wow.
be taken that Catwoman was still number 2, so that's
yeah.
a lot of things.
Honorable mention: Catwoman sucks.
Wow.
Wow.
And it came down to a Marvel and a DC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we aren't biased. We aren't biased.
Well,
Equal opportunity haters on the show.
yeah, that I mean, there's some movies in there I just wanted to forget.
Wow. Yeah, and you know what? They all will be forgotten because I don't think anybody after this is ever going to go back and watch them.
No.
Somebody's like, "Oh, is Dark Phoenix that bad? Let me watch it this week." That's not happening.
No way.
No.
But hey,
Well, paid people to like sit through the end of it. You know, it's like
Hey,
if you go $20.
so Mr. Storm, if someone did want a Dark Phoenix figure, though, where would they go?
Well, you know what? This leads us right into our normal thing that we always do every week. Like to thank our sponsors, Toys versus Games. And yes, they probably do have Dark Phoenix internal. There might be a couple of Catwomans, not the Michelle Pfeiffer. I don't think they ever made a Halle Berry one. But if you can go over tonight's over, I was looking on their IG page. They actually they had a sale that was going on today where they were, I believe it was at 30 or 40% off, and they had some characters, everything. Street side sale. So they kind of do these things every now and then and try to get the fans and the community involved. And if you're looking for, again, if you're tired of the Walmart, you're tired of the Targets, and you want to just support a local toy store, there's also a great series on Netflix about the toy stores near you, and they're talking about how we need to save these stores. Toys versus Games in Wilmington, California deserves your attention. And the Shadow Crew podcast would like to thank them for being a sponsor.
We never found out. Did they have mask toys? Did you ever find out?
Actually, Shadow was popping in this weekend to check that out.
Okay.
So we'll know. But I'm sure they could probably scrounge them up somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure you could let me know, and I'll send over some green. Please pay Chet as my cash handle if you guys want to fund that. Yeah, I mean, thanks everybody for stopping by on all the streaming platforms. Much appreciated. Do not forget that for the month of February and March, we have made the subscriptions free. So you just had to click subscribe. Thumbs up are free as well. Thumbs down will cost you, but that's neither here nor there. So if you guys want to be cool and be with the rad kids, you'll subscribe, you know. And if you don't, that's not our problem. So
yeah, let's run some channel updates. I know there's something that we've been anticipating on the channel for a long time. The Retro Rewind. That
is coming up very soon. The first episode has been filmed. The second episode is in planning phase. The first episode will go up. Will probably go up on Monday. I think is when it'll go up. Excited about that. We have the Toy Box Chronicles. That is another live one. We're not sure if we're gonna do live of Retro Rewind just from the nature of that. But yeah, really excited about those two.
Yeah, I know Dr. Brentley and I actually have a Indiana Jones retrospect. That's
nice.
I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, this one and we decided this retrospect, like if you haven't seen the old retrospects, you know, we kind of just do through films. But this one we're also going to do the Indiana Jones TV series. We're going to throw in some comparisons, some fake Indiana Jones movies that they tried to hone in on the Indiana Jones craze. And there will probably be some toys that will pop up on that one too. So it's going to be a full retrospect of everything, man.
We're gonna have to make like a little link tree to put all our stuff in, so people.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely have to do that.
We're getting there. But all these podcasts, including this one, can be found anywhere that you do get podcasts. Let's not forget about that. Please rate those podcasts. Apple Podcasts, I think, is one of the only ones where it's not video. But if you find us on Spotify, it is video. We are on. Now on YouTube podcast through the YouTube Music app, you can find us. That is video. So really exciting. Just please rate it over there. You know, it rating us on these podcasts is also free for the next 2 months. We're not going to charge you for it. So yeah.
You know what? As much as I'm excited about the Indiana Jones retrospect, I was hoping for at least an Alan Quartermain or the Mummy retrospect.
Mhm.
Well, he's
Oh,
going
they
to be
get the money.
included as
Alan
one of the
in
ripoffs.
India, one of the ripoffs.
And the Mummy. I mean, you got to do a Mummy retrospect too. Is that embedded into
No,
this?
no,
I'm
no.
assuming it's the genre.
We did a Mummy one that was already one, but yeah, there's some of those characters are kind of based. So a lot of the films that we feel ripped off of Indiana Jones and even some video games. You'd be surprised. There was an old Atari video game that ripped off Indiana Jones too. So
Oh yes,
we're gonna be bringing that
forward
up.
to it.
Mhm. There you go.
Looking forward to it. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, everyone. And we will see you next week, same time, 7 p.m. Pacific time, multi-streaming. Later.